I've been waiting for you. Welcome to the Sweet Spot, where I share amazing recipes, offer tips and tricks while trying to have a little bit of fun. Fun like in my new app I found, the hologram app. Hey, other brother, show them some fun.
This isn't fun. This is terrible.
Sorry. Hey, other brother, show them some fun.
This is not fun.
Oh, squish. We're making limoncello today in an episode I like to call Limoncello Revisited. Why revisited? Because we've made limoncello, an awesome recipe. Find the link here or in the description down below. This version, though, will address many of the issues that impatient viewers have had. Waiting 90 days is a long time. I figured out a way, with some help from the internet, how to speed this up while still turning out a super delicious limoncello in a fraction of the time. This recipe calls for about 14 beautiful lemons, preferably organic. Choose big, beautiful lemons. They should be brightly colored, firm, not soft at all, few blemishes on the skin, and give them a nice wash. Some people prefer to use a vegetable or fruit wash, particularly if they're covered with wax. These are organic, not covered with wax, so after a nice rinse, we're ready to go. The skin of the lemon is the basis for limoncello, not the lemon juice. When we peel our lemons, get only the skin, leaving the white pith behind on the lemon. The pith is very bitter and will not make a pleasant limoncello. So carefully peel your lemons. You end up with a gorgeous mound of lemon peels, very aromatic. And now a tip that will save weeks of time from making limoncello. You want to scoop up these lemon peels and put them into a blender container. Just dump them in. With the lemon peels in the blender container, next we want to add the alcohol. This recipe calls for 80 proof vodka. I know a lot of people, I've gotten comments on the other video, linked down below, that people prefer to have grain alcohol as the base rather than vodka. This recipe is vodka. It's 80 proof. It's available everywhere in the country. You can make this using the same technique, using grain alcohol and then dilute it with water, but that's not what I'm using in this recipe. Simply pour enough vodka into the blender container to cover the lemon peels. You don't want to fill it all the way to the top because you're going to whirl this around and we don't want to make a mess. Just cover. We do want to use the lid on the blender because it will make a mess, experience tells me. And if you don't have a big powerful blender like this one that I'm fortunate enough to have, you may need to do this in batches with just a portion of the lemon peel and a portion of the vodka. But you want to mix this till it's completely combined. This might be loud. While this is blending, I have a trivia question for you. What is the name of the knobby end of a lemon? We could use our hologram app. Hey, other brother, what's the name of the knobby end of a lemon?
I don't know.
So much for that app. We now have pulverized lemon peel and vodka into a very clean jar with a tight sealing lid. We want to pour this mixture in. I like to use the remaining vodka to kind of serve as a rinse for the blender container. And finally finish the bottle. Then we want to cover this baby up. And I know you're expecting me to say 45 days, but it's not 45 days. Since we pulverized the lemon peel, the alcohol in the vodka can extract the lemon oils and any of the lemon flavor in a pretty short time. I've been using about 7 days, but 7 days is not a magic number either. If you let it go a little longer, if you let it go a day or two shorter, that'll work perhaps, but I've been using 7 days, and that's my recommendation. Into a cool, dark place. Every now and then give it a swirl, and the limoncello is halfway through. Fast forward 7 days and you end up with this golden liquid with the lemon peel settled in the bottom. Every day or so I gave it a swirl. I don't know if that makes a difference, but hey, that's what I did. While you're waiting those 7 days or so, set aside some time to make some simple syrup. Pretty easy to make. 2 cups of water, 2 cups of sugar. Bring to a boil or until the sugar is completely dissolved and let it cool. Store this in the fridge. We need to filter out the shredded lemon peel, and there's a couple ways to do that. Use a funnel lined with cheesecloth, or I'm going to use a strainer, fairly fine mesh, lined with cheesecloth. Fold the cheesecloth over 2 or 3 times. Doesn't need to be perfect, but you do need to catch all the lemon peel. And just slowly pour it in. Discard your lemon bits, rinse out the big jar, and then filter back into the jar. You're refiltering, again, 3 or 4 layers of cheesecloth. And what you're left with is still a gorgeous yellow liquid. Smells delicious, very lemony, of course, but it's not crystal clear. And for years, the limoncello I made was crystal clear. And I did that by using a coffee filter rather than the cheesecloth. And I'll show you what the difference is. I'm just going to filter this one more time with a coffee filter, and we're going to end up with clear liquid. So how do you make a decision whether you want crystal clear or not so crystal clear? Try each of them. We need to add the simple syrup we made while we were waiting, but we do not, careful here, we do not want to add the full recipe. We only want 20 ounces of the simple syrup. That will yield limoncello that is 30% alcohol by volume. That's a nice and strong limoncello. My earlier recipe called for an additional 45 days of waiting, sealed in a container. I still think time improves the limoncello, but you're going to have to decide how long you'll want to wait. I always store my limoncello in really nice bottles with a seal top, a flip over seal top. That way you can keep it in the freezer or take it out and travel with it pretty easily. Again, a funnel. And we just pour this in. Beautiful. Flip over the top. Seal this up. The other thing I like to do that makes my limoncello a little bit special, I take the time to print out a pretty label. Slap that label on and it looks pretty nice. You want to throw this in the freezer because limoncello is best served ice cold without having ice to dilute it. Now, I'm fortunate enough to actually have a batch of this sitting in my freezer. Actually, 2 batches. One made filtering just with a cheesecloth, and the other made filtering with a coffee filter. You can't really tell because both of these bottles are super frosty, but we can tell when I pour them in the glass. Now, my favorite part, still, the taste test. I'll start with the crystal clear one. Delicious, tart, a little hint of sweet. This is pretty mellow. It's smooth. Smooth and delicious. And the less clear fella. Oh my, this is really good too. You can definitely tell the difference. This seems to have more body. And this is very good. This actually seems a little smoother. I don't know why. Could be that the coffee filter in this one took out the lemon oils. Certainly all of the little micro pieces of lemon. They're both so good. If you're not a subscriber to Sweet Spot, now's the time. Hit the little subscribe link down below. Hit the bell to be notified with each new video. Until next time, this is it for Sweet Spot.